Greetings, prop makers of the world, and welcome back to another very much delayed but interesting video regarding making a Christmas ornament, which happens to be after Christmas. What's really interesting is you'll see that the second half of this video is actually recorded before Christmas. Then this part of the video saying, hey, this is the completed version, is done after Christmas, because I did these as Christmas presents this year, and I ended up giving away all of my examples of what I had to do, so I ended up having to make one more for myself. And this is what it is. This is just sculpted and painted, and this is a great way to create a handmade ornament for those who you would like to give something a little bit different for Christmas than, you know, just the typical, I went to the store and bought it fare. This is straightforward. The template's going to be up on my Google Drive to download, and it allows you to make these things relatively quickly, as you'll see in the video. Anyways, I hope you all enjoy this little diversion in making some lovely little Christmas ornaments. Oh, this one is slightly different than the one that's in the video. This one's got a chicken on top because this is my ornament, and since we've got chickens this year, I wanted to do that as part of the memory of, you know, the whole fun of making a chicken coop, which I think I've got yes, I do have a video of that somewhere on my channel of what I put together. Anyways, enjoy the video, and remember to like, share, and subscribe. It helps me get out there, but I promise in 2021, you're going to be seeing a lot more videos from me. I've got some really fun projects in the works, and we're going to be taking from there. Greetings and salutations once again. As you saw at the beginning of the video, today we're going to be making some Christmas ornaments. This is actually my second try at this video because the first time my angle was all wrong, and in typical Samhain fashion, I blocked up everything that I was doing with my right hand because the camera was over there. So this is the second try, so I get to go over what I did once before, but you'll never see it. So what you have to do is, on my Google Drive, there'll be a link down below somewhere where this is going to be file you can go download, and it's a simple template really, but it'll just make life easier. And what happens is you'll get that template onto cardboard like this. I think this is actually from a cookie box that we bought. Anyway, reduce, reuse, and recycle. So lay these things out as best you can. If you're doing multiple of these, which is kind of what the purpose is of doing this as a template, you will try to get you try to put the spacings as close to each other as possible. Then just take your typical X-Acto knife and start cutting out. I apologize for the shadow, but it's that part of the year where my light sucks. Okay, and this is my first time trying to work with a top-down view, so hopefully it works out pretty good. This back tire, when I did it, was too small, so I just gotta make it a tiny bit bigger when I go to cut it. Okay, one down. I'm gonna fly through this with some sort of precision rather than come across as a complete buffoon. Not like I don't do a good job of that regardless. I'm gonna zip across there. I'm gonna take that out, take this out. What's the good news is this is actually a pretty quick project with lots of room for customization. And you know, when you're looking for presents for people, sometimes a homemade ornament is one of the best things that you can offer because it's from you. You know, no one else can do an ornament from you. But of course, there's always that issue where people go, I'm not artistic enough to do something like this. I go, suck it up. There's lots of tutorials out there for different things, this one being one of them, and this allows you to get an ornament built without too much trouble. Okay, oh, I should comment, you see the Sculpey here is about half an inch thick. No, quarter of an inch thick, what am I saying, half an inch. And what I did is I used a pasta roller to get this to the thickness that I need. I'll need a bit of that later, I'll just put it off to the side. So now you've got your 4 pieces of your truck template all cut out, and now you just peel off the top. But what I'm going to do is make a racket off screen. And when you move this, you want to put this right onto tinfoil. And oh, this is going to play havoc with how the camera picks it up, but that's okay. So normally you'd want to put this on tinfoil so all your work you get done, it doesn't end up having to be moved when you put it in the oven. We'll try doing this with the tinfoil, but that is a bright light. I wonder if I can just bring that down just a little bit. Oh, that's a little bit better. How's my camera reacting? Yes, you get to listen to me troubleshoot my camera rig. Anyways, but that's what you come here for. Everything that I do is on the fly normally. So then you take your wheel well, and we work. No, I don't like that angle. I'm gonna bring that right up to there. Holy man, that tinfoil is just causing me all sorts of havoc. Okay, I'm gonna have to take it off tinfoil. When you do it on the tinfoil. Don't do as I do here. This is just for tutorial sakes. Actually, if this was real tutorial sake, what I'd do is I'd have a finished one that I kind of go like this, and I go, oh yeah, so when you're actually all building this, and then you just use your hand, and oh, there we go, see, it's all finished. You don't have to really work that hard at it. So, what we're gonna do is we're just gonna stick this down. Sculpey will stick to itself pretty quickly, normally, and then the tree's gonna go up here. So, but our main focus is going to get this truck done now. The joys of everything, where my tools are not within reach. And I bet you that tool that just fell on the floor, due to Murphy's Law, will be the tool that I need. It actually isn't. Okay, so this is just your typical kit. God, how can you tell that I use that a lot? Anyways, this here, you can use whatever you want to do. You just need a little bit of a V. Now, the other thing you're gonna need is an AA battery. Why do you need an AA battery, Sawin? Because you need a charge card? I don't know, but here we go. So what you do is, this is what I really like about Sculpey, is you can find all sorts of things around that work wonderfully as templates. So there we go, we got some wheel rims. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna use this little guy here to give us our tire tracks. So you just go around now and just push in and keep with the angle. You always kind of want to be aiming for the center of the hub when you do this. And if you don't do it exactly right, you call it artistic license. And you're going, that was meant to be that way. And just do a few at the top, because people aren't going to see the top one as much. There we go, just like that. Now we're going to do the bottom again. Aim for the center hub when you're doing this, because then all of your tire tracks end up where they're supposed to be. And you see, this goes really quick overall, and you end up with a really cool looking effect. We'll go over a bit more after we do this one here on the other stuff you can do. So, and if the two tires are not exactly the same size as each other, just smile and say, oh, that gives it character. Which is the great artist excuse is, oh yeah, it gives it character. It was meant to be like that. Oops. So we have our two tires now. Did I catch that? Look at that. Okay, now you come vertically and you push into those same tire tracks you just did with just the tip of the tool. And what it does is it puts tread pattern on the front of the tire, and it makes it actually look really cool. Makes it look like real tires. Strange how we're making tires and we make it look like real tires. Now, next thing you need is Captain Pokey. And we're just going to add a bunch of text, like a bunch of little dots. You don't have to do this spot per se, but with Sculpey I find that the more texture that you give it, the better paint takes, and all of your painting effects look better and makes it look like you're professional when you're all finished, when in reality you just kind of played the medium to itself. That's right, medium, you've been played. So you go through, quickly do this and put all of these dots in. And I'm not going to speed up. I'm going to try not speeding up as much as possible, because I want to show just how this ornament gets made from beginning to end. So if you are building this and you have me up on a side screen, you can just keep on pausing and unpausing to get to exactly where I am. Now, what we need is, what's going to happen, you see this piece here. This comes off. My piece of cardboard. And then this tree here will come off of this piece of cardboard. We can pull that right now. Goes right there in the back, but we're not going to put it on just yet. And then this is the box, the top of the box to cover up your transition. We're going to get to that after. So we're just going to move those out of the way, but I want to let you know where it's going at that point. So use your finger now, and all of these sharp edges, you just want to push them down gently. You want to give it a nice rounded look, because these older vehicles all had really nice rounded lines. They didn't have a lot of harsh lines like our modern vehicles, which I don't mind, but you know, everybody likes their own types, and I like both styles. So if I'm trying to make a Christmas ornament that's looking vintage, of course I'm going to go through and I'm going to round all those edges, and it goes quick. You can see that it's not a hard process to bring that down just that little bit. And the other good news is when you do this, it pushes it all together, so it binds and it looks just fantastic. Okay, so now you can see, hopefully, with the shadows there. I'm just going to try something. It may not work, it may work. I want to get some better angle on my light there. Okay, let's try that. There you go. You get a bit better shadows now. My shadow's going to cover a tiny bit, but I'll try to be mindful of that. So if you see my shadows covering my work, I apologize. So now that we have our base vehicle, we're going to take the scribe and we're going to put in some details. So the first one you want to put in is the door. And you don't have to go too deep with this, but you want it deep enough where it looks like it belongs there. And now the door panel, make that one vertical. Don't follow the curve. You want to come up, then the hood, you come over, and you come up. We're going to touch that up after. And those are our two, and one more, but we'll do the window after actually. I usually use a different tool to do the windows, because I like it different. My youngest daughter was using my tools last night and everything is not quite back where it should have been. But that's okay. She made the most pretty Christmas tree. Oh, there it is. This is why you come to me. I'm all professional all the time. So, we've got our lines done. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take anything with a flat edge on it. I use these bamboo tools. You can get these really cheap pretty much anywhere. Now what we're going to do is I need to have that box divider put in. You don't want to go so deep that you're breaking it, but you want to go deep enough, and then you just do a little bit of an impression at the top, and what you end up with is just, you end up with that nice box split. It just, once again, as you've heard me many times, it brings a little bit of realism to what you're working on. Now the window, you can do this multiple ways. I usually start, we'll go with this one because this one everybody has access to. We're going to take the pokey tool, which actually I think this was my wife's scribe tool when she was in university to do printmaking. I'm just an uneducated buffoon. Straight across, and we're just going to put a nice little window in our little truck here. In our happy little truck, we'll have a window. Okay. Here we are now. We need to push those edges down a little bit. So we're gonna grab this little guy, and we're just gonna gently bring that up. We just want some depth to it, and I'm gonna use the back because it's a bit harder to get that one because it's just not wide enough. Just push it down gently, and what it does is just gives the car a nice textured window. And like I said, I don't want to speed up all this. I want you to understand exactly what I'm doing. If you can't hang around for the whole video, that's okay. Most people don't anyways. I will do this. Now, you want to take your scribe and put in some angled lines on the window, like so. A, it gets the paint to catch better, and B, it looks like a window now. So if you want to, after doing your edging, you can use this to reaffirm that edge, just to make sure you have a really clean edge on the actual window. Well, it's actually getting pretty good lighting there this time. I wonder if I can bring the brightness down just a smidgen. Yes and no. So now we've got the main truck done. What I like to do is I like to take this one with a rounded edge on it. These probably all have tool names, but you know what? I don't care. And I'm just going to hit that fender with it at a few spots. Why? If you've ever seen a farm truck, this would be technically a farm truck. It's never in perfect condition. It's been used and it's been abused, but it's been loved. Okay. And you see I'm doing on the hood the exact same thing I did on the tailgate. Not the tailgate, but the back separation. Just gives it a little bit more detail. Now, this one, you've got multiple options that you can do, but I'm going to make this one into what was considered a woody truck, where there's wood paneling on it, because I find the character around Christmas looks really good. So I'm just going to start by putting in a frame on the door here. And I'm going to go right down to the fender. Now once you've got that, you'll be redoing this, but you just kind of need to know what your area is. And now what you do is you just draw some wood texture. Now when you're doing wood texture, you can put in eye holes like this, but as a good rule of thumb, never cross the stream. Never cross the texture. What I mean is, don't go diagonal across multiple, because that's not how wood grain works, and it'll stick out like a sore thumb. So what you do is just do a little bit of wood grain. It doesn't have to be perfect. You just have fun. Yes, because I have to tell you to have fun, because up until now you were not going to have fun unless I told you that. Man, that is washing out completely. I'm just gonna try something here. I apologize. But you know what? That light isn't bad. You can see more of what I'm working on here, so I'm gonna keep that going. So the lighting is gonna be more yellow, but you'll at least see the detail of what I'm working on. This is one of those things I gotta figure out. I'm still learning about lighting and all that, and you know, I'm enjoying it. But of course, everything takes investment, and this is, as of right now, something I do for fun. I like sharing my artistic talents with the world. Now, so we've got the wood texture completed. Now what we want to do is you get get the pokey one, and we're going to be putting in a lot of, I don't know what to call it. I call it dot texture. And what we're going to do is we're just going to keep on going through, and this is going to be the one spot where I am going to speed up, because you don't have to listen to me ramble on. I wish there was a way I could have a button where people could just go click and jump through or speed it up manually, because I would chat to you the entire time of doing this whole thing. So anyways, look at that, I'm doing it already. I'll shut up now and I'll continue texturing this, and when I'm done, I will be back. Okay, so we got all our dotting done. You can always put some more in after, and what I like to do on these fenders, I like to just run a line over just little parts of it. I don't know, it just gives it character. And that's what this is all about, is it's just about character. Now, what you can do is, if you're doing this specifically for somebody, or you're doing a year, what I like to do is right here on the floor plate, I like to scribe the year. Why? Because it's one of those things where I like to have a Christmas tree filled with ornaments from the year that you are in. Now, we're going to finish up the truck here now. And now I'm not going to put it onto aluminum yet. And this is where I'm going to have a bit of a problem, because normally this would be on aluminum. So you can see here, all the texture's done. It's a straightforward ornament. And this is when we're all done, this is going to look great. So don't be too hard on yourself. So I'm going to put that on the tinfoil. You know what? I'm still getting reflections. So we're going to go to working on the Christmas tree. Sorry, everyone. I have to work on the tinfoil here, because I'm going to start doing some joins and I don't want to move it. So the first thing we're going to do, we're going to take Mr. Christmas Tree here. We're going to grab a bit of leftover Sculpey, and we're going to spin it into a sausage. Okay. Now, once you have these, you're going to wrap it just over the edge of each of these boughs. Okay, and then we're gonna go like so. Bring it over the edge, pinch it so it breaks. Okay, and then the next one. If you think I was gonna say something else about pinching, you're sadly mistaken. Okay, I'm gonna bring this up. And you'll see what this is gonna be for in a moment. You can probably figure out what it's going to do, you know, it's not like this is rocket science.
Yes, this is going to be so complicated that you'll not be able to understand.
Doesn't work like that, does it? Okay, so we're gonna put the last one along the bottom. Ta-da! Okay, so we've got our basic part of the tree done. You're gonna grab, I gotta come up with magic names for these things. I'm gonna call this that tool. Okay, so you take this, and what we're gonna do is we're just gonna quickly put, not a lot, you just wanna do just this edge here, and you wanna push this in so it binds. That's all you're doing here. You just wanna make sure that the Sculpey sticks to each other so it doesn't break off when, you know, you're working with it. We're gonna be doing more right away. So once you've got that all held down like that, you wanna grab, once again, my favorite tool, my scratchy tool, and starting at the bottom here, you want to take this and you want to just do a line and pull it down a little bit. See how it, make sure I'm in the screen here. This is a bit awkward to do as an angle. You want to pull it down so you get that piece to come out the bottom, just that little bit. And you go all the way along, and you got to be careful because if you didn't bind it well enough, it's going to pull it off the tree. Now, once you've got that first little sequence done, you come up a bit more, and then the next layer you pull down into the layer before it. And you follow up with the patterning of the tree. You can be as complicated here as you want, but you don't want to do straight lines. You just want to make it look like, and you want to pull. See how it's giving it a layered look, which I hope is coming through in the camera pretty good. If not, I'll bring it up a bit closer. And you can see how you end up with, looks like pine needles. So we're gonna do the same thing on the next tier, and these by bigger pieces we stuck on just give us dimension, and that's what I'm going for. You can see how when you pull it out, it flares the edge and it makes it look a lot more precise than one buffoon with a camera can make it look like. So we're gonna go like this, we're gonna pull it all through, and that extra layer there, and you can be more detailed, but if you're doing like these for friends and family and you got to build like 20 of them, sometimes you got to find that happy medium between a beautiful piece of art that they will treasure forever and one that will not take 3.5 weeks for each person to do. Because let's be honest, in this modern world, sometimes time is our most precious, well, let's be honest, in any world, time is our most precious resource. And here I am sharing it with you, which makes me happy. I was watching a really interesting documentary on creative people, and it's funny how they say that creative people need to create, and I cannot stress that enough. If you know a creative person in your life, help them get creating, because if a creative person is not creating, inside they're hurting. They thrive on it. This is what they do to find their enjoyment. So I'm going to pull this off. Now this is where things get a little bit fun, because we're going to stick that right there on the truck. Now you'll see that this bottom bow goes over the edge of the box. You can actually do that if you want, but since we have a piece of wood going in there, what we do is we just kind of go like this, and we cut it where that piece of liner is going to cover it. Like so. There we go. Now, once we've got it to there, you want to reach in with this tool, and you want to kind of drag those two together, just so there's a physical bond between them. You take your little rectangle right from the beginning. Now that should sneak right into there and become the top of the box liner. Now, see, this one fired off the end a little bit, and I look at that and I go, well, if you like how that looks, great, leave it on. If you don't like how it looks, you can take the knife and just snip off the edge to give it that little bit of a more uniform look. Now I'm gonna do the same wood type texture here on the top of the box because I like how that looks. And with Christmas ornaments, I like the idea of things looking warm and cozy, you know, remembering Christmas is growing up. I kind of grew up in a different, I don't even want to say different era, but we used to get firewood, and that was one of our main heating sources. So going in the fall to get firewood and then burning it during the holidays was not one of those things where you did, oh, it's just because it's fun. It's because it was necessity. So now what we're going to do is we're going to get our Sculpey from before.
Hello, Sculpey from before.
And we're going to cut in a box here. Okay. That's going to be our present. Now what we're going to do is we're going to do the exact same thing here. If we want to fit it in, we can. We're going to put this right onto the top of the box liner. So just kind of sneak in there and just give it a little bit of a push to get it bonded. Now we're going to delaminate this. And we're going to grab a little strip for two purposes. We need a ribbon for the box, which we're going to take and we're going to layer right here, over, up, just cut it off, stick it on. Okay, then we're going to make a close approximation of a bow. And the first time I did this, it ended up absolutely horrific. So let's see if doing it again has got me any better. It was really cute. The previous one I did, my 5-year-old saw what I'd done and copied it without me telling her. And it was really neat to see how quickly kids pick up on things that you would never think that they would. There we go. Put a nice little bow on the back of that present. And now we're going to go through and we're just going to add a tiny bit of texture so the paint has something to grab onto. I'm going to push that bow down just a little bit because I don't want it breaking off when I'm all working on it. Okay. Get some texture on that present so when I paint it, it has something to grab onto. And then the final little step here, which I'd forgotten from earlier, is take your single, the thinner Sculpey. You don't need it to be that 1/4 inch here. And then cut out, kind of wrecked a bit. Let's try that again. Okay. And that might be too big, so let's just cut that down just a tiny bit. We're making a door handle. So we're going to take that, we're going to stick that onto said vehicle, get it into where we want it, and just push it down. Go through, once it's locked down, give it some texture, because texture's always pretty. Happy little texture. And just like that, you've got your made ornament that hasn't been baked yet. So what we're going to do is we're going to bake it. I'm going to come back, I'm going to show you how to paint it. You can paint it however you want. I'm going to be going along the lines of a more antique looking ornament. Now, okay, we're back. And you see our fantastic little truck is now looking a bit more brown. It was baked and I put a brown base coat on it. The last one I did a black base coat, and it almost ended up too dark. So this time I'm going to try doing it a little bit different. So we're going to go with brown. Now, there's a tutorial on dry brushing up here. So this part of the video is going to be sped up as I go through and put the different layers of paint on to make this thing look the way I want it to. If you need to know how to dry brush, go watch the other video as well. But you can probably see what I do here as well. Anyways, I'll see you at the end. And we're done. So you can see that I put a little bit of silver accents all over it. I wanted it to really look classical and old, like it's been sitting around for many years, because I love the way this looks. It always looks so classy on a Christmas tree. So now what I'm going to do is I should have thought of this ahead, just one second. I have, beyond, a whole bunch of messy brushes sitting on my table. I'm going to get rid of that before I put my hand in it again. So now what you'll do is, if you've got access to wood or something similar, just need a little bit of backing. You can use MDF for this, or like the thin, just thin MDF. I don't know what the exact, it's like with the pegboard material. I don't know what that actually falls under. I'm not going to say Formica, but it's not. Everybody has different names for certain types of wood. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go to the garage. I'm going to cut this out on my scroll saw. I'm going to paint the background black, and then this gives me a base of which to put the eye screw into. Now you'll notice up here, it deviates from the tree a little bit. That's because I took this and I put it on my finger to figure out where, as close as possible, the center of balance is, and it turns out to be about there. So that's why that little bump is there, is so I can get the eye screw a little bit further along to pick up the center of balance, so this doesn't sit on the tree like it's going onto a catwalk. Anyways, I'm going to be back for the final step, and I'll show you. Actually, I'm not going to show you the final step here because there's not much to say otherwise. I'll show you at the beginning of the video what this thing looked like when it's all done, painted, and finished. Anyways, I hope all of you have a fantastic New Year. It's been a crazy year, hasn't it? And Merry Christmas and all that fun and stuff. But yeah, keep an eye on the channel. I've got my new computer hooked up now, and I can actually start recording, which, talk about the worst time for a computer to stop behaving itself. The new year, I got a whole bunch of plans that is not Christmas and Halloween based. It's just fun prop based, because it's always fun to decorate and it's always fun to build. So not much more to say other than remember to like, share, and subscribe if you got this far in the video. I hope you have a good time, and I will see you all the next time. Samhain out.